This week on MCrider, we'll look at a video sent in from one of our subscribers, Dan. We'll look at what went wrong and a few things that we can do to protect ourselves in similar situations. Hey, my name's Kevin. I'm the host here at MCrider, where I release a weekly video on motorcycle skills and road strategy to help make you a better rider. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. You'll get weekly notifications when we release a new video every Friday morning. Let's hop on the bike with Dan, one of our MCrider subscribers, who is out for a Saturday evening ride in Scottsdale, Arizona, running out to get dinner and bring it back home for his family. But let's ride along with Dan for a minute and see where the potential situation occurs. Let's pause it right here. Dan is approaching an intersection, and if you watch much MCrider at all, you know that intersections are particularly dangerous for riders. And you can't hear it on the video, but Dan says that he rolled off the throttle slightly as he approached that intersection, knowing that it could be a potential issue. So let's keep rolling. And sure enough, that car at the intersection doesn't see Dan, and it begins pulling out in front of him. You see Dan apply the brakes and avoid a bad situation without locking the brakes up. But let's look at why riding a motorcycle at night is particularly dangerous and some things that we can do along the way to help ourselves out. I think most of us are aware that riding a motorcycle at night increases our risks. In fact, I think it's an interesting stat that while the majority of motorcycle miles ridden are during the daylight hours, nighttime fatality accidents on motorcycles account for 52% of all fatalities on bikes. So while most miles are ridden during the day, the majority of accidents happen at night. So we'll look at a few things this week that you can do to protect yourself if you happen to be out riding a motorcycle at night. So why is it that more motorcycle accidents happen at night? Well, we'll look at three reasons. There's probably hundreds of them, but we'll look at three this week on the video. And the first two are obviously in our court. They're things that are in our control, that's something that we can do something about by our own actions. And the first is that a lot of people get off work and they'll go to a biker bar. They'll go to a bar, they'll have a few drinks, and then they'll get on their motorcycle. So riding under the influence increases in the evening hours. And that's true for motorcyclists as well, that there's a lot of riders going out to the bar, having a few drinks, and getting on their motorcycles. That's one of the reasons why that motorcycle fatalities increase during the night. So the second big reason is the lack of visibility to riders at night. And that problem is made worse by riders who are overriding the headlight. What I mean by overriding the headlight is if you get on your motorcycle and your headlight projects out, let's say 150 feet, but you're traveling at a speed that you're going to take your motorcycle 170 feet to come to a complete stop, you've got 20 feet of total blindness that you're riding in. Anything that appears in that 20 feet, you're going to hit it because you're traveling at a speed that you can't get the motorcycle to stop. So road hazards or corners that are sharper than you might expect could become potential hazards because you're riding too fast for the lighting conditions at night and you're overriding your headlight. The third reason that we'll mention here is your lack of visibility to other drivers around you. Remember the video we did a few weeks ago on making yourself more visible on the road, using things like your lane position to make yourself more visible to cars at intersections? Well, a lot of the techniques taught in that video only apply to daytime riding. When you get out there at night, it makes it that much more difficult for cars to see you because you've got this small single headlight approaching a vehicle, and it's really hard for them to judge time, space, and distance before you'll reach that intersection. But let's look at another situation that's especially dangerous for motorcycles, especially if your bike falls into one of these categories. So here's a common situation. We pull up to an intersection in a car. We're in the process of looking left and right to see if we can make this left-hand turn. We see that car in the distance that's coming up the road. It looks like it's quite a ways off, so surely we can make this left-hand turn before that car gets to the intersection. But before we make this left-hand turn, let's light up that vehicle that's coming in the opposite direction and get a closer look at what we're really facing here. So what we thought was a car in the distance was actually a motorcycle that was at very close range. This is one of the design flaws, in my opinion, for motorcycles with dual headlights, is this optical illusion. In fact, let's take a look at it again. We'll turn the lights out. Looks like a car in the distance. We'll turn the lights on. It's actually a motorcycle at close range. So if you ride a motorcycle with dual headlights, you need to be acutely aware of this and the hazards that it could cause you out on the road, and cars mistaking you for a vehicle that is off in the distance. So we've discussed the problems. What can we do as riders to help protect ourselves better? Well, the first and most obvious is to limit your riding at night. Now, I know that I try to do this, but still there's times when I'm out on a motorcycle after dark. So I'm not saying never ride after dark, but just be aware that there's extra precautions you have to take if you are riding a motorcycle at night. And what comes along with that, you always want to make sure you're riding sober. So my general rule is no drinks, no alcohol if I'm going to get on a motorcycle. Never makes any sense to have a beer, not even one beer, and get on a motorcycle. If you have a drink, it's going to take about an hour for that drink to get out of your system. 2 drinks, about 2 hours to get out of your system. So make sure you're riding sober. Next thing you want to do is slow down. And we've already talked about how hard you are for cars to see on the road. Also makes it more difficult for you to see down the road. So slowing down is an obvious safety measure and something that you can do to help protect yourself out on the road. Remember, you don't want to override that headlight. So you want to ride at a speed where you can see up the road, but you can easily get the motorcycle to a stop within the distance that you can see up the road. The next thing you can do is make sure you've got a clear visor on your helmet. So if you ride during the day with a dark tinted visor, make sure you bring a clear one with you so you can ride at night. Or the best option for me is the drop-down type visor like a my Shoei GT Air. I can bring it down during the day, and I'm shielded from the sun during the day. I pop it up at night, and I've got clear vision for nighttime riding. You can add lights to your motorcycle. I've added some to just about every motorcycle I've ever owned, both the front and the rear. LEDs help a lot, or adding extra lights. And what I find particularly helpful is on the front, if you can triangulate the lights. So you've got your headlight and then 2 driving lights or nighttime lights to help light up the road and light up your presence on the road as well. You can add reflective clothing. So most of the quality motorcycle gear out there at least has pinstriping that will light up at night. A lot of them will have bigger reflective materials on the back of it. And you can add reflective materials to your helmet as well. So I've got these MCrider decals. These are reflective decals. I've got them on the back of both of my helmets and on the motorcycles. Not only promotes MCrider, but it makes me more visible if I'm out riding at night as well. You can order these if you want to support the channel, mcrider.com/decal, and I'll be glad to send these some out to you to help make you and your bike more visible in the evening. So is there anything that I left out? Anything that you would like to add to this? I'd love to hear your comments. You can join us on the forums where we'll have further discussion about this. You can get access to the forums by supporting us on Patreon at mcrider.com/support, or by becoming a member on YouTube. Go to mcrider.com/member and you can get all the details on supporting the channel through YouTube. So until next week, guys, this is Kevin with MCrider, and we'll see you on the road. There are multiple ways to support the channel. You can become a member on YouTube at mcrider.com/member, or support the channel through Patreon at mcrider.com/support. Either way, you'll get full access to the forum and the field guides, which will further the training that we release here on a weekly basis.